The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Bermuda's Feel Good Early Morning Show. Good day, Bermuda. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert, and we are ready to bring you some feel good vibes this morning. Today, we are going down memory lane to look at how Bermuda has changed over the years. Plus, we're going to check to see what West Indian nations our families may have immigrated from. First, we're going to start off this episode with our feel good moment of the day. And we do want to say good morning to our early audience. Sean Smith wishes Jackie and I a good morning. We also have Carmen Mitchell-Jones in the room / house. And we also have Melody Julio in here with us as well. So our feel good moment of the day is none other than the Nothing for Nothing documentary. I'm going to go ahead and share with you just the visual of the documentary so that you can see. If you haven't seen it as yet, we don't know what it is that you're waiting for, because that documentary, both Jackie and I have seen it. Jackie hasn't seen it all just yet, but we're going to discuss it further on Thursday's show. So do make sure if you haven't watched this yet that you do watch it. If you have watched it, let us know in the comments below if you have seen it. I do also want to get some of your feedback on the documentary. So if you're a boxing fan, if you're a boxer, if you know someone that's a boxer, if you've ever been to Rigo's gym, if you've ever been to any of the boxing gyms on the island of Bermuda, do let us know in the comments. Jack, from what you watched so far, what do you think about the documentary?
Honestly, it's beautiful. It definitely stirs a lot of emotions because these guys are telling you their story about where they came from, what they've been through, and it's definitely it kind of reminds me of like Creed, right? Like, you know, you're fighting to that victory, you're fighting to that end. This is my goal and this is what I'm striving for. And even though I was given this, I am putting everything that I have in it to get to where I want to be. And it was just, I love it. And it highlights a lot of good and bad parts of Bermuda. And we really got to stick behind our athletes, not just the boxers, obviously, but our athletes, because we have so much talent on the island, but we're so small. But
we definitely do have a lot of talent on the island. And as I mentioned, if you're just joining, do let us know in the comments if you have seen the Nothing for Nothing documentary, which was featured on the Olympic channel. I want to say it was premiered on Friday, and the Twitterverse was definitely going off on this particular documentary in a good way, not in a bad way, but everyone was definitely sharing their love and support for the documentary. We have a question from Jamal here, Jack.
So Creed is a movie, I want to say, Rocky is, everybody knows Rocky, I hope. So audience, I hope you guys all know who Rocky is, but there are two great boxers, and Creed is basically the son of one of the boxers that got killed, and he just fights to have a connection with his dad that has passed. And you know, I don't want to ruin the movie for you guys, but you gotta watch it. It's all good.
It is a feel-good movie as well. And you do want to make sure you watch that one after you watch Nothing for Nothing. Because if you haven't seen Nothing for Nothing and you plan on tuning in on Thursday, Jackie and I are going to talk more about that documentary. So we don't want to give you any spoilers. So do make sure if you haven't watched it as yet that you do watch it before Thursday's episode. I can say for myself, as Jackie mentioned, it was definitely an emotional roller coaster. I think I was so excited. I wanted to like tweet while I was watching it. But then like, as soon as I tweeted something, like the story completely changed. I was like, oh my gosh, delete tweet. I got to start all over. I got to wait. Let me just wait to the end. So I ended up just putting my phone on and just watching it to the end. It's definitely a feel-good movie. It is going to bring some emotions out of you.
It's motivational.
It is motivational. It actually made me want to go look up every single athlete that was featured in the film to kind of see, okay, what is it they're doing now? Where are they going next? Have they posted what they're going next? We have a comment here from Sean, Jack, if you want to read it.
I only saw the trailer, but it looks very interesting. Sean, it's worth it. I think it's only 56 minutes.
It's an hour.
Okay, yeah. So I watched the first half hour and I had to put it down because it was making me too jittery. I'm like, I want to get up. I want to go work out. I didn't do enough in tennis. I need to get back on the circuit. Like it just gave me more drive. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
It is absolutely a very motivational movie. And if you are not that active, Jackie and I have a push-up challenge that is going on. We launched it last week, Friday. And do make sure if you're not already participating that you do send us any videos, any comments of yourself doing the push-up challenge. Hopefully this video will, this documentary, will inspire you to be more active and get back out there to not only support your athletes, but to support yourself in your journey. We have a comment here from Colton Fleming who says, it was well produced. Absolutely. We'll definitely dive a little bit deeper into that on Thursday, but I think the quality of that film is top notch. What are your thoughts, Jack?
I mean, just look at this picture.
Right? The steel.
Like, this is how it starts off. And it's a narrator behind this scene. And honestly, I just loved it. I loved it.
We give it 5 stars, 10 stars, all the stars.
Yeah.
It is low-key kind of hard. Yes, and the confetti. I wish we had when you can click something and it does, like on Facebook, when you give certain reactions, it does some animation. That would be dope if you could do that, like a congrats. We're not there yet. I don't think StreamYard is there yet, but we'll get there. If you are just joining, Jackie and I talked about our feel-good moment of the day, which is the Nothing for Nothing documentary, which was featured on the Olympic Channel's page. So do make sure if you haven't seen it as yet that you watch it. We are going to discuss it in depth on Thursday. We're going to switch gears to our first feel-good topic of the day. Now, last week, Jackie and I shared with you a bit of behind the scenes of our adventure into Crystal Caves. And so we posted this poll on social media, and I'm going to try to remember which screen it is. I think it's this one. Okay. So we asked the question of our timeline on Twitter, when was the last time they had been to Crystal Caves? And the majority said under 5 years ago. Now, we can't tell you who said what, but we also wanted to ask you today, if you're in the audience, when's the last time you went to Crystal Caves? Because Jackie and I will be continuing our conversation tomorrow around the caves. So we're going to give you guys some fun facts about the caves that you may not have known. So do let us know if you didn't get a chance to participate in the trivia last week on our social media. Let us know when the last time you went to Crystal Caves was, and what do you remember the most about your Crystal Caves visit, your last Crystal Caves visit, or Crystal Caves in general. Jack, since we just went recently, this should be fresh in your mind. What is one thing that you remember the most about Crystal Caves?
That the water is 75 degrees all year round. That's my favorite part. I'm like, oh, that's perfect swimming water, but we can't swim in it.
Yeah, you can't. It's not advised. I would be interested if they did let folks put their foot in, but not everyone's a strong swimmer, so we don't want them to get any liability for that. I guess for me, I would say the darkness. like when he turned off the lights
Yeah.
and said, like, make sure you hide your phones, that there's no light showing because I'm going to turn off the lights. And just thinking about when I was 13, 12, 11, I don't think I would have made the decision to just go down a cave where I don't know what's on the other side. And then for it to be so dark in there, that was definitely, for me, a highlight that I think, yeah, I don't think I would have ever done that at 13.
No.
Like, just the thought of that, no thanks. So if you're just joining us, do let us know in the comments the last time you visited Crystal Caves and the one thing or multiple things that you remember about Crystal Caves. We do have a comment here from Robert Durham, Jack.
Nothing for Nothing was awesome. I know all the fighters, not personally, but from watching them fight. I love their story. I also remember Clarence Hill's story and a lot of his and Troy Darrell's fights. Nothing for Nothing was a beautiful story about all the fighters. Absolutely.
Yes, thank you for your comment, Robert. And for clarity, it's actually Clarence Dill. I think that was a typo. And I think I was talking about this with Jackie before the show. We'll definitely dive into this more on Thursday. But to know that Clarence Dill is our only Olympic gold medalist in that sport, and we haven't given him his flowers, like a full parade, a full-on statue. I mean, when you watch the documentary, there's a comment from someone here in Bermuda who says, like, back in Jamaica, they would have basically rolled out the red carpet for him.
Absolutely.
Oh, Robert Durham says it was he. Oh, my apologies. I thought it said Deal. My apologies. We are talking about Crystal Caves. We do want to ask the last time you have been to Crystal Caves. Let us know in the comments if you have been to Crystal Caves, the last time you've been. What do you remember about Crystal Caves? And I am going to say, share, the next poll that we posted up on social media to ask our audience about summer treats. So we did ask you all around, like, what are some of your favorite summer treats? What are some of the things that you enjoy having in the summertime? And it turns out most of our fans or most of our followers on Twitter said that that snowballs were their favorite. And I have to say, if you didn't get a chance to participate in the trivia quiz, do let us know below in the comments as well. Jackie, I need to know, between snowballs, ice cream, sherbet shakes, Ashley's lemonade.
Snowballs.
Okay, Jackie's definitely snowballs.
And I got the biggest one. Whatever the biggest one is, that's the one. Oh, you have an extra large in the back? I'll take that.
Definitely take an extra large. Going back to the comment, it looks like it is Hill. So my apologies again, Robert Durham. I must have been tired when I was watching it and saw a D when it was an H. We do have a comment here from Zena Malcolm, Jack.
Can't recall Crystal Caves, but went to Leamington Caves earlier this year and went for a dip.
See, now I need to know if Leamington Caves is open to the public or not. For real. Earlier this year, it looks like I missed it because I would like to take a dip in Leamington Caves. I feel like that should be on my travel bucket list on the island of Bermuda.
Well, I know we can go swimming in Grotto Bay, and then we can definitely go swimming over at Tom Moore's Jungle. And that's on our list of things to do.
It is. We do have a long list of things to do, actually. We're going to make it work. We're definitely going to make it work. Do let us know if you're just joining in the comments. What is your favorite summer treat? Is it a snowball? Do you like ice cream? What about lemonade? Or do you just do they have Italian ice here anymore? Because I do know that back in Washington Lane, La Trattoria used to have like the little takeout section. And it used to have little Italian ice cups that you could get. And I haven't seen anything like that since then, but I also don't venture too far around the island. I'm getting better. I'm working on that.
At one point, you were able to buy them at the store, like the little cups. I haven't seen them in a while, but you know what I forgot to mention? I like these slushies from South Shore gas station. It's one is ginger beer and one is fruit punch, and I always layer them. you weren't. I remember you weren't supposed to. They're just like, you should just choose one, and I'm just like, but there's options. Put them together.
That's interesting that they let you pick one. Why not?
That was a while ago. I was like 15, 16, but I still got them, and now it's normal. Now it's normal. And I sit there with my spoon, and I just enjoy it. But you know what? Talking about going back to Crystal Caves, a few people that I know have watched it, and they all hit me up, and there's just like, I want to say the last time I went to the caves they were like 7. They were definitely in primary school. So whatever year they were in when they did the field trip, that's the last time that they visited the caves. And most of the people are in their 30s. So, but a lot of them have kids, so they're super excited. They're like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot this is somewhere I can take my kids. And so I know one of my friends took my goddaughter, and she loved it. She enjoyed it. And she's just like, Godma came here. And so that's a staple.
We do have a comment here from Sean Smith Jack, who says, a nice ice cold beer, does that count? I mean, if you're an adult over 18, yes, it counts. We definitely, whatever you choose to have for your summer treat is totally up to you, Sean. We absolutely want you to enjoy it. That's all that matters.
That definitely counts. I'm thinking about it, like whether it's the or the where you pop it, when you open it. Yeah, that first sip is so thirst quenching. It tastes like more.
Those are definitely the sounds of summer for sure. If you're just joining, Jackie and I spoke earlier about the Nothing for Nothing documentary, which is an hour-long documentary featured on the Olympic Channel. If you have not seen it, we will be dropping the link on social media today so that you can watch it, because we will be discussing it further on Thursday. We do have a comment here from Robert Durham, who says it was at the 1976 Olympics at which Clarence won the bronze medal. So do make sure, if you want to learn a little bit more about Bermuda's sports history, specifically boxing, that you check out that documentary and join us on Thursday for that conversation. We did post 2 polls on social media last week, one about Crystal Caves and the other about summer treats. So do let us know in the comments, what are some of your favorite summer treats? When's the last time you went to Crystal Caves? And all of that, because we're going to continue the conversation, and we're going to switch gears to talk about memory lane. We're going to go back down memory lane and talk about how Bermuda has changed over the years. I do want to share a photo that I saw on Bermeem's Twitter this last week, and it was very interesting just to see, what Bermuda looked like back then versus what it looks like today. So here are some photos that were, wait, you can't see it yet because I have to share it to the stream. There we go. So here are some photos of city life in Bermuda in the 1930s. And Jack, Jack, before we talk about it, I want to ask the audience, what are some of the things that have changed in Bermuda over the years, from like your childhood till now, places that you used to frequent that are no longer in existence? And how do you feel about those changes? Do you feel like the changes were good changes? Do you miss some of those things? And if you miss those things, what are some of the things that you miss? And if you have found anything new in that space? So there's a lot of questions, but the main thing is to let us know some of the things that have changed over the years for yourself on the island of Bermuda, and what do you miss most about them? And Jack, I'll put that to you first. What's like one major thing that is no longer here on the island of Bermuda that you miss?
One thing. And I know this probably sounds silly, but I do miss hitching post up Somerset. Is right before Somerset Bridge. I miss that. And what else?
What do you miss about that? What do you miss about hitching post?
So obviously, there were 2 grocery stores nearby my house, but that was one of my favorites because it was almost like they kind of sell things more in bulk. So I used to go there with my mom, and I used to sneak around. It wasn't the biggest place, but when you're little, it was huge. So I used to sneak around, and I used to just keep adding stuff to her cart. And at the end, she'd be like, where did all this stuff come from? I just remember doing that so often that eventually she just gave up. She's just like, whatever. And I used to end up with some stuff. But I do miss, I had a great childhood, so I do miss the neighborhood camaraderie and everybody knew who everyone was. It was a different type of, you felt safer versus now you don't know who your neighbors are. I mean, I know who a few of my neighbors are, but for the most part, they're just strangers living next door. And I don't feel like that's comforting. I'm used to people looking out and saying, I saw somebody in your yard, and that's nobody that lives in this neighborhood. But yeah, I mean, not much has changed for myself versus, if you compare it to the picture.
Right.
But
let me bring back up the picture if someone is just joining. So I actually want to talk about this picture a little bit more. So Jacky and I were not born at this time in the 1930s. And so I do want to ask the audience if you or someone you know remembers the city life in Bermuda around this time. And if so, what was it like? Like, do you remember riding around on a horse and carriage? Like, what was that like? Was life slower? Did you feel like the pace of life was better compared to now? What are some of the things about Bermuda's past that you miss that you, if we could bring it back, would like to see back? Do let us know in the comments. I know for me, I've never actually been on a horse and buggy ride, personally. Horse and carriage, horse and buggy, same difference, I guess.
Adds to list.
Adds to list of things to do.
Well, you know what I noticed about this picture when I looked at it? Everybody looks fit.
Like
everybody looks fit. Yes, because either you're riding the horse, which takes a lot of core and leg. It's just a full body workout. And then if not, you're cycling. And if you're not cycling, you're walking. So for the most part, everybody just looks fit. And then in order for you to make sure that your horsepower is alive and well, you have to feed your stock, groom your stock, everything like that. So everybody had to have been super active back in the day compared to now, where the most you do is turn your key, press the button, and drive or ride off.
Right. And we do have a comment here from Robert Durham. He says, one thing that's changed is everyone has to wear helmets while riding motorcycles now. Back when I was a child, no one had to wear them, but thank God for that law. Absolutely, because road safety is very important. And do make sure if you do ride a bike that you buckle your helmet. Don't just put the helmet on just because you feel like, because it's the law, you have to. Actually make sure you secure that helmet so that in the event that the wind catches up or, God forbid you do get in an accident, your head is protected.
It's protected.
We do have another comment here from Carmen, Jack.
These pics are from 1938, before my time. Before ours too.
Absolutely. If you're just joining, we are talking about how Bermuda has changed over the years. This photo that we are showing on the screen right here is from Bermemes. They posted last week what Bermuda looked like in the city back in 1938. And one of the things for me that stood out in these photos is that the people are definitely, like Jacky mentioned, fit, but they also look like they enjoy this mode of transportation, like that this is something that they, I guess, look forward to, something that they appreciate. Whereas now I feel like even with the transportation that we have, although it is modern, it's kind of like a thing. It's a necessity. It is what it is. Like we don't necessarily, I can personally say, I haven't really looked at my mode of transportation as like, I'm glad to get in the car and go driving. Like I don't get excited to drive, but it looks like in these photos that they feel like this is an enjoyable mode of transportation, one that they can kind of, I guess, for lack of a better word, take in the sights, like just enjoy the moment.
Conversation as you're driving by is way easier because you can just like, hey, slow it down real quick, or you could just go at the horse's pace and just nice little as you're having a conversation with these cyclists next to you. Bermudians hold up the road all the time to have conversations, and back then, it just makes sense that it's just going down generation. Yeah. So that means it's probably better for the environment too. We're gonna have to check the small grates, but I'm pretty sure that was better for the environment versus what we're dealing with now.
Right. Good morning to you, Bobby. Thank you for joining us this morning. We have another comment here from Sean Smith, Jack.
Horseshoe Bay Curve before a few hurricanes ago changed the landscape, driving off the top of the rocks when I was a child. Yes, I forgot about how the hurricanes have changed everything, because Albo Beach, I used to be able to walk from the back of the tennis courts straight down. It was an easy walk instead of versus having to go all the way around and come down by Lido. So we'd have to walk back towards Lido and then down through there to get to the beach, or go all the way around to get to the public side, because now it's just a cliff. And I think it was Hurricane Fabian that took the rest of it. And there's now so much exposed rock, which makes for, decent shade or a good little picnic table. But there's the beach is definitely washing away a little bit.
Yeah. So to Sean's point, I do want to ask the audience, have you ever gone diving off the rocks at Horseshoe Bay? I want to find out how many daredevils are there in the audience. And if you haven't gone off of Horseshoe Bay, like the rocks before the hurricane that messed up that particular curve, have you been off Amity House or just docks in your neighborhood? Let us know in the comments if you are a daredevil, if you were diving as a youngster. Me personally is a no. Jack, what about you?
I'm trying to think of what rocks I haven't done Horseshoe Bay rocks, because my mom told me about her incident where she actually struck bottom. So I was terrified of that. But out Malabar Dock, or even Booz Island, those areas where the ferry was, we used to wait for the ferry to go out a little bit, and then we'd jump in and the current would drag us out. That was so dangerous, but it was so much fun. And we used to ride. I had a BMX, so I used to ride it, and then we used to jump off into the water in it. I've jumped off of Somerset Bridge, Watford Bridge. I've jumped off Diverboard Island.
I should have asked you where you haven't.
I know, I'm like, the list is long. Where haven't I jumped? Horseshoe Bay. I think Horseshoe Bay and probably Warklong Bay. I haven't really ventured off of those.
Gotcha. If you are just joining us, we are asking you if you've ever gone diving off of the old rocks at Horseshoe Bay, which used to be there before the hurricane took them away. We're talking about what Bermuda used to look like and how it's changed over the years, and what are some of the things we remember and miss about those things. We have a comment here from Robert Durham. He says, also before 1970, our currency was pounds, shilling, and pence. We changed to dollars and cents. My mom talks about those shillings and pence all the time.
All the time.
I'm like, ma'am, I don't know what it is that you're talking about, but okay.
Yes, okay. We used to hear about my mom going up to, or my dad, because he used to live up Somerset, and he used to go to Baxter's and get his stuff, and he used to use his shillings and his pounds. And whenever we go to the store and they see a stick of gum or something like that, they're like, this used to cost me. And I'm like, and what does that translate into now? Like, what would that cost me now? They're like, it used to be like 5 cents max. And we used to get a whole bag of candy. I'm like, wow, Bermuda's expensive now compared to back then.
Yeah, and we have a whole new currency. I think it was the currency change. Maybe it was the currency change.
I blame the currency change.
We have a daredevil in the audience. Sheldon Eugene Fox II says he's the Cannon, Super Cannon, and Numbers over at Amity House. He is a daredevil. Bless you. You can continue. I don't know if you're still diving off of Amity House, but if you are, do that for Jackie and I, for me, because Jackie.
I want to say I'll still do it.
Jackie will probably be right there with you.
We used to do it when we went to Berkeley. So when we went to Berkeley, when we had to do our gym class, some of it was at, during the summer. So swimming used to be out there, and all of us could swim. So he'd just be like, all right, dive off, show me how you can swim. And we're like, easy. So we'd have diving competitions. We'll run around and climb off the rocks and jump in and jump off of everything. Yeah.
We have one more comment here from Robert Durham, Jack.
Never jumped off the rocks at Horseshoe Bay, but definitely jumped off the cliffs at Admiralty House.
Okay, so everyone here is a Daredevil besides me. Okay, got it. Cool.
We're going to fix that.
Totally got it. Let's switch gears a bit. I do want to talk about, so one of the things that I saw last week on social media as well was this tweet from Savannah Noel is her name on Twitter. And it was the Bermuda tapestry of like West Indian immigration. And I thought it was really interesting, one, to see my family name on there. And then the other part was it to see how accurate it was for some people. I haven't personally done my whole family lineage to kind of see where I'm from as far as like the different islands or even just from Africa. So I can't really say whether this is accurate or not. However, I do believe that it could be. So if you haven't seen this graphic on social media, do check a quick look and see if you see your family's last name, and let us know in the comments whether you type the country's name or you drop the flag. Let us know below in the comments where your family may have immigrated from in the West Indies. Jack, did you see your family's name on the graphic?
No, but I only gave it a quick look when I was mid-match yesterday.
Got you.
But I talk to my family all the time, and they say that part of us are from St. Martin, St. Kitts, and then my great-great-great-great-grandmother was one of the first slaves to come over.
Okay.
To Bermuda. Yeah, I have to find the picture because it's actually a picture of them, her and her daughter sitting with each other, and I have to remember where they said we were from, but I'm definitely going to do some more digging to see, because that's my dad's side. I want to see what we have about my mom's side. So I'm going to have to sit down with my granny and then, of course, my aunts and see what they knew and remember.
Got you covered. If you are just joining us, do let us know in the comments if you were able to find your family's last name on the Bermuda tapestry, and if the country that your family is from seems plausible, seems recognizable given your family's history. For myself, it was Jamaica. My family's last name was came through Jamaica, and I actually feel like that was very accurate and on brand, because when I lived in Atlanta, I definitely connected with a lot of the Jamaican people that I met, and it was really cool. It was really interesting, to be honest. I do have a comment here from Bobby Singh. Jack, if you want to read it.
Oh my God, yes. But we didn't stop in the middle of traffic and talk to friends and family. This Toronto girl had a tough time getting used to that. However, drivers in Bermuda are still a lot more kind and courteous than the aggressive drivers in Toronto. Absolutely. It suits me when drivers here let you in front of them or stop to let you turn. It's awesome. Yeah.
Yes. And if you're just joining us, earlier, we talked about how Bermuda has changed over the years, and Bobby was letting us know the difference between, where she is from, I believe, and where she is currently living now, which is Bermuda, the most beautiful place in the world. We do have a comment here from Sheldon Eugene Fox II. He says, went to West Pembroke. We used to run there for gyms. He's speaking of Amity House when we asked earlier if you are a daredevil, if you've ever been jumping off the rocks at Amity House, the dock at Amity House, or any dock or rocks around the island of Bermuda. And we also have another comment here from Sheldon Eugene Fox II. He says his great-grandfather came from St. Kitts in 1923. Wow.
Nice.
We have another comment here from Bobby Singh. Jack.
Guyana over here. I may be related to Bob Richards.
Well, we can neither confirm nor deny, but definitely. If you are just joining us today, we went down memory lane. We talked about how Bermuda has changed over the years and some of the things we miss about the Bermuda of the past and some of the things that we enjoy about the Bermuda of the past. We also talked about our West Indian immigration heritage. If you did not see your family's last name on that tapestry, do let us know in the comments still where your family is from. We'll be really interested to see where the rest of the island or where we immigrate from, because we do call the parts of the Caribbean our Caribbean cousins, and those are brothers and sisters down there to the south, and we do love and appreciate all of them. We have another comment here from Carmen Mitchell-Jones. Jack.
grandmother and great-grandmother came from Dominicana.
That's beautiful. I think I met one person from Dominica when I lived in Atlanta, and that was the first time I had ever heard of that country. Like, you hear about Jamaica, Trinidad more frequently than you hear of Dominica. So it was really interesting to meet her and just hear her accent, because even though we have an accent, it's still really cool and interesting to hear another person's accent and to recognize that you actually do have an accent, because you don't think you have an accent when you're talking to fellow Bermudians unless they're from St.
I know I have an accent. This is a turned on version of my accent, but I get teased all the time about my accent. I have my friends from the States, and of course we're in a pandemic, so I'll be like, oh, something about COVID. They're like, COVID.
Oh, yes. Okay, then yes. But I guess when I was younger, it just wasn't, I didn't think of it as an accent. I was like, just this is the way I talk. This is how I speak. Like, I don't know what else you want me to do, but yes, it's really interesting. Jack, you have a feel good vibe of the day for us.
Yes.
Do you want to introduce it, or you want to just play it first?
Oh no, I think I don't know. Should we introduce it? Okay, so
we're gonna play it first. We're gonna play it first.
Cousin, come on, cousin, but it's time to lay those things to rest. Looks like the waxing engineering steamroller got a hold of those things. Those cockroach killers look like flippers. Someone take your boy snorkeling. Hey, you lot, don't send me the videos like this because it's Sunday. You boy needs to let go and let go. It is time to let them things go. It is time to let them things go, brother. I'm gonna need you to let go. Let go. Just let them go, let them go. You don't need them no more. They serve their purpose. Oh, yeah.
So, yes, that is the feel good vibe of the day. That is by none other than Mr. Photogenic. We said this before, I'll say this again. The man always gets it. He always gets it.
The first thing that came to my mind when I saw this video was just like, summer's here, guys. We have flat tires. Because it just looked like, the heat got to the shoes, and the shoes were just like, nah, bruh.
The shoes had enough.
I can't take this heat. Take me back to winter.
These shoes were definitely, these shoes are over summer, and summer's not even here yet.
Summer is here. Do you see this tan? Summer is here. I am so burnt.
Technically, it's still spring, but yes, it's definitely hot outside. And his shoes said, you know what? No, thank you. We have a few more comments before we wrap up today's episode. We have one here from Robert Durham. Jack.
When I was younger, my grandmother had a shillings meter. Ooh, when the electricity went off, she had to put out a shillings put my Lord, I'm dyslexic today. Had to put a shilling in the power to come back on. When the meter man came around, he would empty the box. It was like emptying a coin operator, washer, or dryer. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, we should definitely.
If your power goes out now, you're out of luck. Like, you had pay. If you forget to pay your bill, you have to wait till the next day, unless they've changed it. But
yeah, I definitely want to talk about that a little bit further. So Robert will definitely be hitting you up to maybe dive a little bit deeper into that. We have a comment here from Sean Smith who says, we are killing him. That's the big vibe of the day. We hope you do have an amazing day. And one last comment here from Bobby Singh. I love the Bermudian accent. My husband is Bermudian, and he can turn it on and off when needed. After 8 years here, I catch myself saying things with the Bermudian accent too. We absolutely love to hear that. And Jackie and I are about to get out of here. We do appreciate you spending your early morning with us. If all goes well, we will be back here tomorrow. Until next time, have a good day, Bermuda.